couple weeks. We have the Choir Boys concert with David Reeves and Joel Pitney. Everyone is welcome. That'll be a $20 ticket for adults. Kids come free, and that includes a taco dinner beforehand. So the first part of the show is definitely family friendly, and then after that I'm sure that there will be nothing untoward. But do come and enjoy their wonderful music and creative collaboration. And then also, we'll be really honored to have Ellen Waterston here. She's a poet laureate of Oregon. She will be coming right in the first week of June, but I think that's something really worthwhile to mark on your calendar. Okay, lastly, for the 10th anniversary, we had this lovely booklet made up about the visioning and the creation of this building. There are still many copies available. They're on the visitors table when you are leaving the building today. So please do take one. It was really a beautiful effort of the congregation. Many folks contributing their professional skills, and a lot of others with hours and hours and hours and hours of deliberation to make this beautiful building that we get to worship in every week. So with that, blessings on your day.
Well, hello again, good people. I want to add just one little announcement on top of the ones that Shayla already gave. You know, and as most of you know, this dear person, our beloved congregational life facilitator, she served us lovingly for more than a decade through her announcements, her blessings, her dedication, sheer exuberance, always clarity, compassion, and wisdom. She's retiring at the end of next month. A well-deserved, I know. It's going to be super hard to say goodbye to Shayla, but the easy part will be celebrating her with a retirement party. Yes. It's going to be filled with gratitude and fun and best wishes. And what better way to do so than to bring to this gathering one of her own signature events. Now, as a lot of you know who have been here for some time, Shayla was exuberant. I have to just use that word again, exuberant about variety show. So we are going to have a variety show at her retirement party. So two things, save the date. Mark your calendars for Friday, June 27th at 6 p.m. here. And secondly, and this is super important because we want that Friday show to be a ton of fun, this is a call for talent. Now, every one of us possesses some sort of talent, regardless if you're an extrovert or an introvert. You can be classically trained as a pianist, or you can play the kazoo. All levels are welcome. Creativity, here you come. And all varieties of talent are also welcome. And the best part, there's no auditions. Everyone can be here. Whether your little piece is serious or comedic, poignant or light, solo or with a group of your best friends, this is a place for you to shine, to wow your fellow congregants, and give Shayla a beautiful gift of lasting memories. So, a couple reassurances. Do your palms get sweaty when you're up on stage? Maybe your knees shake a little bit. Don't worry, because the people in front of you are incredibly receptive, appreciative, and joyful. So all newcomers are welcome. You can sing, play an instrument, recite a poem, juggle, ride a unicycle, tell a story of your worst moment in the airport security line. You know, you can just be a little creative and entertain us with something from inside you. And you can submit your intent to show up by contacting one or two of our choir members, Ann Wyman, at annwyman@gmail.com, or Dory Jansen, dory925@gmail.com. So thank you very much, and get those ideas flowing. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision, a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. That vision is embodied in a few very large congregations, numerous mid-sized congregations, and many, many, many small congregations. No matter its size, the vitality of every congregation depends on each of its members. Each one of you, by your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. Individually and together, we are Unitarian Universalists, building a world filled with peace and justice, love and joy. At this time, we gratefully accept your offering to support the work of our fellowship.
We've been hearing about imagination all month. Imagine a 12-year-old whoops, we lost the mic. There it is. Accordion student, tall and thin, with a full-size accordion. Had to have been painful. Fast forward to present times about 2 months ago, when Grace imagines I would be a good candidate to receive her precious childhood instrument. While I'm thrilled, Flora's magnanimous patience, while I struggled to learn a new instrument, I am eternally grateful for.
That was awesome, Chris. Thank you. We now enter into a time to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our UUFCO community. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified. Ours is a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We do so in the spirit of the Swedish proverb, shared joy is a double joy. Shared sorrow is half a sorrow. You may submit a written joy or sorrow using the forms on the kiosk as you enter the sanctuary. If you are holding a joy, sorrow, or gratitude silently close in your heart, you're also welcome to light a candle on either side of the sanctuary during this time. First one is a gratitude from Liz Yulin. Grateful that the fire marshal is giving a fire-wise presentation on how to keep all our homes safe, June 13th, 10 a.m. in the Linus Pauling Room. Carolyn Tate and her sister Marilyn, okay, I'm going to mess up her last name, so Marilyn, you know who you are. Today's flowers are offered in honor of Colonel William Tate's birthdays by his daughters. Our dad served in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. He believed in democracy and equality for all. He knew everyone's name, but in his 97 years, he greeted them as, "Hello, friend." A gratitude from Ginny McKee. Much gratitude to Dory Jansen and Lind Wyman, who helped a homeless woman into housing this week. Dory noticed the woman sleeping in her car near our neighborhood park, thought she might be homeless, and contacted Ginny for assistance. As they were talking, Lind Wyman arrived at Ginny's house to pick up gas cards for our unhoused population. Lynn went to the park, knew the woman, and contacted her case managers, who had lost touch with her. The case managers had her car towed to a mechanic and then arranged for the woman to stay in a motel for a few days before she moves into Central Oregon Villages temporarily and then into an apartment. Thank you, Dory and Lynn, for your love and compassionate care. This truly demonstrates how our love impacts lives. Wow. Kelly Pence shares a great joy of music. I attended the Cascade Chorale concert last night and sang the pops with the rest of the audience. Tom had a fabulous solo during Wagon Wheel. It was a grand time. And maybe there's another concert today? Is that true? Oh, I think 3 o'clock, so you have a chance to hear it. A joy from Eric Winchester. A joy. This past weekend, I got to see 2 of my best friends get married to each other in beautiful Sun Valley, Idaho. Send your best vibes to Katie and Phaedron Lee. Yes, indeed. And a gratitude from me and really for all of our community for beloved Reverend Scott summoning courage while he's on leave. For him and his family, we send our collective love, compassion, and support as we look forward to his return next month.
We now enter a time for meditation and prayer. We will begin with the words by Reverend Richard Gilbert, followed by a period of silent meditation, opened and closed by the ringing of the bell. In the midst of the whirling day, in the hectic rush to be doing, in the frantic pace of life, pause here for a moment. Catch your breath, relax your body, loosen your grip on life. Consider that our lives are always unfinished business. Imagine that the picture of our being is never complete. Allow your life to be a work in progress. Do not hurry to mold the masterpiece. Do not rush to finish the picture. Do not be impatient to complete the drawing. From beckoning birth to dawning death, we are in process, and always there is more to be done. Do not let the incompleteness weigh on your spirit. Do not despair that imperfection marks your everyday. Do not fear that we are still in the making. Let us instead be grateful that the world is still to be created. Let us give thanks that we can be more than we are. Let us celebrate the power of the incomplete, for life is always unfinished business. I never liked turnips. I was sure they were bitter and stringy and all around not worth eating. And then I moved to Eastham, Massachusetts. And for those of you who don't know, Eastham turnips have an illustrious history. Now, the true origin of the Eastham turnip is unknown. Some say the famed tuber is a descendant of the Scottish vegetable called a neep. Others believe it is related to the Macumber turnip from Westport, Massachusetts. Local Art Nickerson was farming turnips during the Great Depression in Eastham at the age of 12 to make extra spending money with seed he got from another local, Ray Brackett. Now, Nickerson later claimed the sandy soil in North Eastham and the heirloom seeds are the root causes for the large, sweet-tasting veggie known as the Eastham turnip. In a November 1991 article in the Boston Globe, he jokingly said, "I gave some seed to a friend, Joe Francis, who knows what he's doing around vegetables, but he couldn't get them to develop. I guess you just can't raise an Eastham turnip in Truro. It must be the sand's better here." And for those of you who are not familiar with Cape Cod geography, Truro is 10 miles up the road from Eastham. Now, the turnip, still grown today in Eastham, has made a comeback. It has its own festival, a celebration of all things turnip in mid-November in the sleepy little town of 5,000 residents, long after the tourists have gone home. People come together, young and old, for an afternoon of silly fun and games, turnip bowling, crowning of the turnip king and queen, old-fashioned foot-stomping music, Mr. Turnip Head decorating contests, a turnip peeling race, and the famous cook-off. A cooking contest? Now that got my attention. So the first year I entered the competition with two somewhat subdued recipes, turnip spice cake with cream cheese frosting, and roasted turnips with shallots, mushrooms, and a balsamic glaze. Much to my surprise, the roasted turnips won third prize from the judges and the coveted People's Choice Award. But next year, I got more creative, and I invented a sandwich which I called the Far Eastham Banh Mi, with a pork and grated turnip grilled patty, spiralized pickle turnip slaw, and a spicy mayo with chopped turnip greens, served on a French baguette. Instant winner for both the judges and the People's Choice Award. Woo! If you come to my house someday for a barbecue and request it, I might make it for you. So what this taught me about creativity is that looking at the ordinary, imagining new possibilities, trying out ideas, putting them out in the world, can lead to an expansion of the heart and mind. That preconceived notion that I didn't like turnips got turned on its head. I found joy in the experimentation of creating something new from something rather ordinary, and then sharing it with others. How much richer might life be if I could let the old stories go and learn to live with a new, more open-hearted embrace? Maya Angelou tells us, prejudice is a burden that confuses the past, threatens the future, and renders the present inaccessible. Imagining new ways of being in the world, from what to do with a dirty big old tough turnip, to how to embrace my neighbor whose political views clash with mine, to everything beyond, that is a way of creatively expanding our love. You may know of Rick Rubin, an 8-time Grammy Award-winning record producer. The list of artists he's worked with crosses many genres, including Jay-Z, Johnny Cash, Eminem, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Macy Gray, Tom Perry, so on and so on. In 2023, after a long career in the music industry, he published a book titled The Creative Act, A Way of Being. It's a sort of a textbook for those who are looking to make meaning in their creative work, whatever their genre. But most importantly for me in that book, he defines creativity in its broadest form. He says, creativity is a way of moving beyond all we think we know and tapping into the place of all possibilities. He goes on, creativity is a fundamental aspect of being human. To create is to bring forth something into existence that did not exist before. It is not necessarily an object, something you can hold. It could be a conversation or a new way of looking at an old problem. We are constantly creators, creating our experience of reality, an ongoing process that occurs just because we are human. What a beautiful concept that we are all creators born to bring forth into the world new possibilities, ever-growing hope for seeing things in a new light, and expanding the connections across all people, places, and things. We do not need a specific talent, or have to be trained, or spend years honing our craft. We are creators just because we are human. Julia Cameron is a best-selling author, artist, poet, playwright, novelist, filmmaker, and composer. She is perhaps best known for her book, The Artist's Way, A Spiritual Path to Greater Creativity. Translated into 40 languages, having sold over 5 million copies, this book is the one that kickstarted my own journey into seeing creativity as a spiritual practice. Many years ago, I joined a 12-week course at a Unitarian fellowship in Hartford, Connecticut. During that time, we used the book as a jumping-off place to examine art making as a spiritual practice, sharing our ideas, our art, and how we envisioned our making as something more than just craft. She starts her book with a list of 10 basic principles, which I'll sum up as this. Creativity is the natural order of life existing within all of us that moves us toward our divine nature. She outlines a spiritual path to guide the reader into a process of creative recovery from the place of buried creative dreams. Throughout the work, she explains that most will feel many emotions during the process: great joy at the thought of an expanded creative life, guilt over the feeling of having to push others' needs away at times, anger and grief at the thought of all the missed opportunities, and then alternating resistance to the process and hope for a different future. Some of the things she says we must do are to stop saying, "It's too late," or "I can't do it now because I have to make more money," or "Dreams don't matter," or "People will think I'm crazy," or "Creativity is just a luxury." Now, without going into too much detail, her process mostly revolves around two steps: the morning pages and the artist date. Morning pages consist of 3 longhand writing pages every morning, first thing, no plan. It's a form of like a brain drain, stream of consciousness writing with no agenda, no thought that they will ever be read or seen by anyone. While morning pages can be seen as kind of a meditation, it's almost like the opposite of traditional meditation, where we might aim for no thoughts, or at least ones that are only fleeting. Here, we let the thoughts come, we put them on paper, and then we can move on. Nothing is off limits. If you can't think of anything to write, then you just write, "I can't think of anything to write," over and over and over, and maybe followed by, "This feels really stupid," and "I don't know how it's helping," and then once your 3 pages are filled up, you're done. Julia says it helps to quiet the logic brain that is our censor, the one that thinks in a neat and linear fashion, perceiving the world in typically known categories. The artist brain is what she calls the creative, holistic brain, the one that defies what we know and imagines what could be. By doing this act of quieting the logic brain, we can begin to have insight into our connection to an inner power source that ultimately can transform the outer world. In her words, insight in and of itself is an intellectual comfort, and power in and of itself is a blind force that we can destroy with as easily build. It is only when we consciously learn to link power and light that we can begin to feel our rightful identities as creative beings. Now, the other part of her process, for those wanting to reclaim their creative lives, is what she calls the artist date. And this is a time set aside every week where you are committing to nurturing your creative life. Think of it as a solitary play date where you get to engage your creative child. It could be a trip to a museum, a walk in the woods, a trip to a restaurant to try some new food, going to an antique store, or taking in a concert or listening to music you might not normally listen to. These dates are meant to be done solo, just for you. If performed faithfully, the inner creative inside of each of us will find a more expansive home from which to grow. But how to deepen our creative power even further, more than just clearing the mind of useless thoughts and inviting in outside experiences? Now, I'm going to admit it, this is where it gets a little dicey, at least for me, because I've never really been one for prayer. It was kind of just a rote recitation from my childhood that held no meaning. The Lord's Prayer on Sunday mornings in the Congregational Church, the occasional recitation of a standard grace before the pasta was served at the Italian grandparents' house. Now, in order to consider prayer and how it is connected to creativity and spirituality, you need something to pray to. And I was always pretty clear that I didn't believe in a personal God, one that cared about me and my little inconsequential life. Even the word God was a bit problematic. I always liked higher power or spirit of life or great mystery, something a bit less religious than God with a capital G. Maybe I could accept God, as some people say, as in good orderly direction, although that felt a bit heady. Now, Anne Lamott, those of you who know her writing, she has a lot of names for God. How about Howard? As in, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Or Gus, great universal spirit. Or Julia Cameron's a little more heady choice of a line from Dylan Thomas, the force that through the green fuse drives the flower. Or Anne Lamott's description as the animating energy of love we are sometimes bold enough to believe in, something imaginably big and not us, which she shortens to, not me. You can think of your own words and concepts that touch on this power beyond all of what we know for sure, some sort of pulsating energy that is the force of life. It doesn't matter what you call it, as long as it works for you. Okay, so now let's assume you have some name for some concept of something to pray to. What now? Julia Cameron wrote another book after The Artist's Way, titled Seeking Wisdom, A Spiritual Path to Creative Connection. In it, she posits that creativity and spirituality are inextricably linked, each one deepening the experience of the other. By being in connection with God, we are finding our way to being in co-creation with all of life. When we pray to this spirit of life for guidance or direction or a way to be of service or whatever it is we are in need of, she believes that the great Creator responds if we are open to listening for the messages. When she first got sober and began to use prayer to keep her life from deteriorating back into drinking, which she thought was the only way she could be in order to be a successful writer, she wrote a note for herself that said, "Okay, God, you take care of the quality, I'll take care of the quantity." And from there, she believes that she has been guided to many more deeper books of better writing than ever before. She has many prompts in her book to help artists struggling to incorporate prayer into their creative work, such as writing lists starting with, "If I let the great Creator create through me, I'd try ... If I believed that God could help me, I would ... If I had no fear, I would make ... If God was a benevolent co-creator, I would try ... and so on. Now, this is all a little bit out of my comfort zone and not something that comes naturally, but as I read more and sit with these ideas, I can see that there is wisdom in the daily practice of asking for ways to bring the world into a place of more loving kindness, with less suffering, more understanding, and a way to foster greater creativity. Now, I need to start slowly in order to get over the idea that my prayers don't even matter. So that's why I like Anne Lamott's book, Help, Thanks, Wow, the 3 Essential Prayers. In the somewhat irreverent way that she writes, the whole idea of prayer seems more simple, lighthearted, approachable. I'm getting pretty good at the prayers of thanks and wow, still working on the ones asking for help. But that's just my puritanical New England background, where everyone was meant to just kind of buck up, put in the work, and not complain or ask for help. Okay, this is where those of you who don't believe in prayer can tune in again, because I know you all tuned out, whoever you are. So, for those of you who can't get your head around the idea of prayer as a path to creativity, let me bring you to the world of science. There are so many unimaginable creative moments in the scientific world, too many to comprehend, and they are all nothing short of miraculous. One of my favorites is the imaginal cell, spelled IMAGINAL. This aptly named cell is what transforms caterpillars to butterflies. Two creatures with absolutely no structural similarity. The process goes something like this. The caterpillar finds a place to perch, forms the cocoon, and inside this cocoon, the caterpillar then dissolves into a blob of organic goop, a sort of chemical soup. And then the imaginal cells, which have been dormant in the caterpillar, begin the process of creating a new form. Initially, they are single-celled organisms working independently. After fighting off the immune system of the caterpillar, which sees them as a threat, they begin to form clusters. And then they begin resonating at the same frequency and begin to act together. And from this miraculous process, a butterfly is born. These cells contain the capacity to create something entirely new and different from the original form. This miracle takes place from a place of disintegration, moving forward with courage to create something from a big, soupy mess, despite some who are fighting against the process. What a way to imagine ourselves in the world, letting go of the old forms that no longer work, allowing for a time of chaos and an unknown future, trusting that the universe will bring forth something new and beautiful. So maybe the word prayer makes you roll your eyes, or maybe you pray every day, or maybe science is your religion. It really doesn't matter, as long as you believe that we are all made to be co-creators of the world we are in, being open to new possibilities, which can expand our minds and hearts and bring more loving awareness into the world. And who knows what you might dream of to do with an East Ham turnip, or a blob of goop, or some other moment of connection and love waiting to be born. Amen. So the house band is going to sing a song, and I think they're going to invite us all to stand so we can sing the chorus with them that hopefully will be something you know.
Yes,
If
this
not,
is
just go with it.
A Million Dreams from The Greatest Showman. Please join me on the chorus, and if you know the verses, feel free to sing along. I close my eyes and I can see a world that's waiting up for me, that I call my own. Through the dark, through the door, through where no one's been before, but it feels like home. They can say that it all sounds crazy. They can say that I've lost my mind. I don't care if they call me crazy. We can live in a world that we design. 'Cause every dreams for keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. Oh, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. However big, however small, let me be part of it all. Share your dreams with me. You may be right, you may be wrong, but say that you'll bring me along to the world you see, to the world I close my eyes to see. I close my eyes to see. 'Cause every night I lie in bed, the brightest colors in my head. A million dreams are keeping me awake. I think of what the world could be, a vision of the one I see. A million dreams is all it's gonna take. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. For the world we're gonna make.
Please remain standing and join me in saying the covenant of our fellowship while Laura extinguishes the chalice. Love, spirit of this fellowship, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. The house band sang to us of a million dreams keeping us awake, imagining what the world could be, a million dreams for the world we're going to make. Don't let fear or negative thinking or lack of courage hold you back. Just start with a simple dot on the paper and leave yourself open to what might happen from there. Amen.